Chris here, back with the Capsule 3 laser from Nebula. I've been using it now for 4 months since I first reviewed it, and it's an Android TV 11 powered projector. It's got its own built-in battery, which is 52 watt hours. It can go for up to 2.5 hours in the battery mode. Now, it is a DLP laser projector, this one. So 300 ANSI lumens is the maximum brightness, and it does have autofocus, auto keystone correction, and the bulb life is supposed to be up to around about 30,000 hours. So I'm nowhere near that in only about 4 months of use, just using this 2 or 3 times a week or so. And how is it holding up? That's what I wanted to cover in this follow-up video here. Is this still one of the best portable projectors that you can get? One of the best things about this portable projector is the size of it. It's very small, it's compact. As you can see, I can easily fit this and carry it around with just one hand. And it doesn't weigh much at all. It's only 950 grams. So up the front here, that is our little camera for the autofocus. Auto keystone correction is 40 degrees plus or minus. It's a DLP laser projector, full HD, so 1080p. Maximum brightness is 300 ANSI lumens, and we've found the focus to be really good. Now, despite just being 950 grams, it does have a battery that is 52 watt hours, and it will last for up to 2.5 hours in the battery mode. Now, our experience is with the battery life that you're looking at when we run the brightness mode, about 1 hour and 20 minutes, and then the battery mode, streaming Netflix, using the internet, of course, at the whole time, around about 2 hours, or sometimes just under 2 hours. Now, we've got our power on button right here. We can pair it up into a Bluetooth speaker mode too, if you want to do that. This is infrared and HDMI, so it will take HDMI 2.1, so you can actually input 4K into this, but of course it will be downscaling it. We have 3.5 auxiliary out and Type-C to power it. Now, this is another big positive with this particular portable projector. So the Capsule 3 laser can be run off power banks, and that's very handy if you want to keep going when you're out and about with it. Use a battery bank, and you can go over the 2.5 hours then. There is the standard mounting point here, rubber base to it, and the top, this is very handy, we've got controls on it, so you don't even need the little remote here. You could just use this if you wanted to, and you can control it all from the top. So you've got your arrow keys, your middle, your power on is the button on the back that I just showed you before, your back, and your home. It is all there with the volume up and down too. Now, the build quality is good. Plastic here on the top, plastic on the bottom, and this nice metal around the outside. There is a little fan that's built inside there. You will hear it. It's not that loud at all. It's very good. Normally when you're running the speakers, which are 8 watts, by the way, you will not hear that fan noise at all. So this projector, the biggest and best thing about it is its portability, of course. And the 300 ANSI lumens, it might not seem a lot, but when you're using this projector out late at night, as we have, you can see now in this kind of situation here. So we've just got a table and chairs outside and a bit of a roof over us, and just blast it up against, project the image up against a white wall here, and it looks fantastic. It's really good, and we can happily sit there. We can watch some movies, episodes of TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video. You've got Disney Plus too. All of that good content, YouTube, all right there. We've even set it up in the stairwell too. So this is projecting to about 100 or so sized inch image here. Anywhere where you have a nice big large wall that is preferably white and has an even surface to it, even if it's got a bit of a texture, it's not really going to be a problem at all. And other areas that we did test it out, like I even projected up against the whole side of the house, and you're looking then at about a 250 inch sized image. And surprisingly, the 300 ANSI lumens does fare pretty well. Again, of course, at night here, projecting this image. And it's pretty amazing just how good this comes out. And even at that kind of distance, it doesn't look, of course, as sharp as projecting only at, say, 120 inches or 100 or 60. Still watchable, though. You can still enjoy content even at those super large sizes. So the portability of this is the big positive. And then the runtime up to 2.5 hours. But as I mentioned, we normally get around about 2 or just over 2 hours. And if you do put it into the top brightness mode, then it's about 1 hour and 20 minutes in my experience with real world times here. So I have the Capsule 3 laser set up about 180 centimeters away from my wall here, and we're looking at then a projected image of approximately 65 inches. Now, of course, in a black room, we're going to have a look at the image quality. Before I do get onto that, I just want to talk a little bit about here our settings. Now, you can see under projector settings, we've got quite a few options in here with our picture. So brightness, it's at 100%, so that is the standard mode. This is the 300 ANSI lumens. You've got auto or battery, which is going to lower it right down, and I think that's probably around about the 180, maybe 150 lumen mark, just to save, of course, on that battery. But I normally just keep it in standard most of the time when I am running this projector. So image correction, we've got the auto keystone correction, auto focus. You've got a lot of settings in that. I've gone over that when I did the first review of this. Very handy. So even now, if I was to bump the projector or just to move it, you place it in a different location. So I'll just move it about a bit here. You see it's going to go into its autofocus mode and correct that. And the focus is very good. I've had no problems with it, and it is really quite quick when it does do this. It displays that screen and it uses that little built-in camera, of course. Now, there have been quite a few firmware updates have come through for the Capsule 3 laser, which is really good to see that they are still supporting it, of course. I'll just do another check. There shouldn't be any more updates at all. Now, the last update that came through, there was an update even for the remote too. And you'll see here that we do have a security patch level of March the 1st. Considering that we're still in March at the moment when I'm filming this, that is good. So we are relevant. We're super recent here with the patch level, and of course, Android TV 11, which is fairly good. Now, it's got a quad core that runs all of this. The performance of the menus is very good. This is typical Android TV. No problems. I don't see any slowdown, any lag or anything like that with it. And we have 2 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes the ROM. Pretty standard there, specs for Android TV, but that's all you need. It's just all you need to get up and running. Now, YouTube, I'll just quickly go into that app. You'll see that it does load up quick. I'm on Wi-Fi 5 here. So it supports Wi-Fi 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands. And just go into one of my own little clips here. And that loads in really quick. This is 1080p quality. The image does look sharp. The blacks look good. There's none of that ugly noise. Contrast ratios here. Good. Very good image. I think for a laser projector, DLP tech, and that 300 ANSI lumens, we are looking at a very good image quality here. So this all runs really well. It loads in all of those thumbnails without any noticeable lag. The control here using the remote or just the top of the actual unit itself, the touch panel there does work really good. It doesn't bog down, it doesn't lag. We have no problems with that. I'll just quickly go into this to take a look at the sample of some of the bright colors of these birds. It's looking very, very good. Now, I only play just a few seconds of this. I'll just skip ahead again just to check out the caching. And that's in 1080p too. Great looking colors. Sound is very good out of the speakers. And later on, I'll give you another sample of exactly what you can expect. And I'll just go over now into a very common app that I think a lot of people will be using, and that is Netflix, which it does support. And this is working fine. Now, it's easier to use their Nebula Connect app, which I'll show you shortly for this, just to scroll through and go through the menus, because this has mouse support enabled. But it is working good, and I'll just go into an episode here of Cyberpunk. I won't show you much at all, just to test the speeds here. Obviously, for copyright reasons, I cannot. But it goes into that, it loads it up really quick, and we're away. At full HD too as well. It does have a Widevine level 1 cert. And this is their app. So it's called Nebula Connect, and you've got all of the controls of basically the remote on your phone. You can adjust the volume right there. We've got our settings, auto focus, keystone correction, back home, menu key, and you can turn on this is the mouse emulation mode. So now I can move this around. You can see, so it acts like a touchpad, and I've got a mouse cursor. You can just see it there, moving back and forth, and that makes Netflix a little easier to control with it. But it's a good app, it's straightforward, very easy to use. Now, it may be small, but it does have that 8-watt speaker, it's Dolby Audio, and it does sound pretty good. We've been happy with it for portable projector needs. I do think it's sufficient enough. Now, I will give you a sample of it with one of my own videos here, just so you can hear what it sounds like at 100% volume. It's quite loud, it's decent, it's very good actually for the size of it. 40mm dynamic drivers, 3 microphones on each side, so 6 in total, and active noise cancellation. You've got various different levels too for the noise cancellation, a wind mode, standard mode. Then fan noise, of course, it's a projector, so there is that ever-present, always-on fan, and it needs to be cooled, of course, so it doesn't overheat the components inside. So the sample I'll give you, you'll hear that it's not actually that loud. It's around about 31, 32 decibels. And if you're running the speakers, the built-in speaker, then you're not even really going to hear this fan noise at all. I think it's acceptable. I think it's a great fan noise. And here's a little size comparison. This is the X Jimmy Mogo 2 Pro, and it's not even a portable projector. It's a lot larger. Now, this one outputs 400 ISO lumens versus the 300 ANSI lumens, and it doesn't even have the controls on the top. So if you were going to take this one around and make it a portable projector, you need to carry then a battery bank, which of course is going to have to be quite a large and powerful one. You need 65 watts power delivery and over, which this one does have. So you need to take that with you. And then you've only just got, of course, the Capsule 3 laser here, and that can go up to around about 2 hours, 2.5 with its built-in battery. A recent patch did also add NTFC file support, which is quite handy. So you can use a Type-C to Type-A adapter to play external files off a USB pen drive. I have a USB pen drive here that does have a Type-C port, so it's very handy. I can just move those files over from my PC, plug it in, and there is a beta file manager that I can use to access and then play video files, TV series, or whatever off an external pen drive. And if you're a Transformers fan, well, there is a Nebula Capsule 3 laser Transformers edition that does have Optimus Prime on the front of it. So if you want more information of that, check the link out in the description of this video. So all up, we have been really pleased with the performance here of the Capsule 3 laser. The autofocus, auto keystone correction is very quick, so we can move it around, we can move it into another room. You can simply just place it down, have it point up against a blank wall, it will focus, correct itself with the keystone, and away you go up and running. Now the fan noise is not offensive at all, it's very quiet, and I would call this just minimal fan noise really. It's only about 31, 32 decibels. And we don't really hear it because we're using the built-in speaker all of the time. Now we do have a 3.5 auxiliary out option. I've never actually used that. We just didn't need it really. We would go off the built-in speaker. It's only 8 watts, but it's loud enough that everyone has been happy. Now the best part about it is just how portable and light this is. So it is only the 950 grams. You can take it anywhere. You can set it up. I can set it up down in the kids' room. We can take it outside, which we've done before. Quite a few times we've done this. I can point it at a white wall. Again, we're up and running. And the image quality has been really good. Everyone's been surprised by just how great it is for such a small little unit. Even when I was projecting in the stairwell, about 150 or so inches, looks reasonably good. I could watch a movie there like that. I could watch episodes, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, not a problem at all. And even projecting, as I showed you in my first video, if you watched of it, the first review, against my whole house, it looks surprisingly good. Projecting at about 200, 250 or so inches. It was just huge, the image, taking out my whole house, maybe even about 300 inches. And it seemed to do that all right, even though it's only 300 ANSI lumens. Now the battery life, I wanted to cover my experience in that now, having used it for 4 months. So we normally get about 1 hour and 20 minutes out of it when you are using the high brightness mode, which is the 300 ANSI lumens. So I wish it was a bit longer than that high brightness mode. Now if you put it into the battery saving mode, the battery mode, it lowers the brightness down, of course. It will go then, in our experience, for about 2 hours, sometimes just over 2 hours, but not quite the 2.5. Probably because we're streaming from, this is the reason, we're streaming as well from Amazon Prime Video or Netflix too. So it's sapping away a little bit more energy there. The good news is, because of the Type-C port and the power delivery, support with it, we can use and plug in an external battery bank, or I could use an external power socket or something like that too to keep it powered, but we've got that option, which is great. Now the HDMI port, I really haven't been using that much yet, or I just connected in my PlayStation 5 just to test it out really. But you've got that option. You could do a little bit of gaming on it. Not that that's something that we would do. We normally just set it up and just play Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus or something for the kids. And it's just great to move it around from room to room. Good option having the touch controls on the top of it. We often just use that to play, pause, and even adjust the volume without even having to look for the remote. And as I showed you, there is their Nebula Connect application as well, where you can control basically everything through mobile phone, not even having to touch that. And there's the Bluetooth speaker option as well. It will go for about 15 hours or so as a Bluetooth speaker. Again, it's not something that we've used a lot, just a couple of times we've played some tracks through it as a Bluetooth speaker. It works, functions well. I believe that this is still one of the top 3 definitely, and for me, one of the best portable projectors that you can still buy even 4 months later. So thank you so much for watching this follow-up review here of the Nebula Capsule 3 laser.